Hey, how's it going, people? This is Hellbent, and a couple of months ago I had created a script for somebody where they can use templates to do multiple search and replace on a text document. So at the time I had released it to only 4 people, but it's been a couple of months, so before I forget, I'm going to release it now to anyone who wants a copy of it. So I'll run a quick demo. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this. I don't want to rehearse going through it all. So anyway, so here's the script when you run it. Now what you do is you take a document. So it can be, let's say you work for a company and you constantly get in these documents and you need to make some replacements on certain fields. So it'll have something like a field that says name or product number or etc., etc., and you'd have to fill in all that information. And with some of these, a lot of the fields will often be the same throughout, from one copy to the next, to the next, to the next. The original document might look different, might be set up different, but certain fields within that will, constantly be the same. So that this is what the main purpose of why I built this script. Now I have absolutely no use for this. I wrote this as just a challenge to write it. It was something new. So I don't have any actual practical application that I need to use it now. Maybe sometime down the road I'll actually need something like this, but right now I don't actually have any use for it. So for the demos that I'm going to be doing on it, it comes from that perspective that I don't really have anything to do with, like, I don't have any need. So in the settings, it's got it set up so that way it will automatically have this option up here to load a default text document. You can go, I'll show you how to go in and change this, but you can also type in its path. So it's set up right now so that way if the file is in the directory where the script is, then all you need to do is just type out the text document or whatever kind of document it is, right? If it's somewhere else on your computer, type out its full path. So if it's on your B drive, D drive, whatever, type out its full path to where that file is, and then it'll load it up. You just hit load. But this one here, it's inside of the folder that the script is in, so I just hit load, and this is just a dummy thing to do a demo of it. So here I have a text document, and throughout it, it has these fields that I'm going to be looking for. So it has find A, find B, find C, find D, etc., right? And what I'm going to do is I have a template that's going to search for those terms within that document, and I'm going to load that right now. So it's going to look for find A, find B, find C, find D, etc. And then I have another template that I can use where it's going to replace those with what I have in here. And once again, you can create multiple templates so that way if there's some different, so let's say I'm searching for the same thing, but some of the fields that I'm going to be outputting, I'm going to be replacing them with are different. But there's a pattern where, let's say I only need 5 or 10 templates that cover pretty much any document that comes in. They're always, it might search for these ones here, find A, find B, find C, or I can have another template that looks for other things within documents. And then my template that it's going to replace it with might be slightly different each time. So I might have a couple of different templates that it's going to do the replacement on. And I'll go into more about that in a minute. So anyway, so here I have my original document. It's got all these things that I need to do replacements on. Here's what it's going to look for. Here's what it's going to replace. Now, in the next 3 tabs over, I can actually come in and do edits or checks in side-by-side comparison. So I can see that it's going to look for find A, and then it's going to replace it with this string here, and etc. for the rest of them. Right? So I can have a side-by-side. So a lot of the time you'll have at least 1 or 2 things that need to be slightly different. So let's say if this one here was actually something like name, right? Then here I would have the template. The template would be set up so that way it just repeats that name colon, but now I come in and actually edit. So name Bob, right? And then when I when I run this script, it will replace name colon with name colon and the actual name. So there's going to be a few, you'll probably have a few things where you actually need to change it each time you run it, but a lot of other things are perhaps going to be the same each time you run it. So I'm going to go ahead and, actually this one isn't part of my original search or my original document, so I'm not going to bother updating that. But I'll do from what I have here. So I have the find A, find B. I'm going to replace it with this stuff here. Alright, I hit run search and replace, and now I have a new document where all of that has been changed. And what I can do with this now is I can create an export file. It's once again, I have a default one already set up there, but you probably want to create your own document. Or what you can also do is just Control A, Control C, and then paste it into whatever document you want. Likewise with each of these here, so here I can, so let me do, instead of actually loading a document up here using this text document load, what you can do instead is just paste in whatever document you want. So you can just paste in a document. You don't actually have to load it like that. Okay, so there's that. With the search and replace, so one thing that you can do with this is if you have a field that you have to constantly change it. So each time I run this, so let's say that this field here I need to change, there's slight variations between it. It always falls within a certain range of things, but each time it's different, and it's too difficult to actually remember. Like I'm not remembering Bob, I'm remembering some longer string. What you can actually do is create small, right now in the background I have another small program that's running, and if I type in here A100, it brings up a list that I can go through, and I can pick. So I'm going to say, okay, product 5. So the product 5 name is just, it's a dummy script. You would replace it with something that makes more sense. So I hit that, and now it loads up the information about that particular product into this field here. And then I would just hit update, and now when I run the search and replace, here actually, let me do the find A. Let me load that back up. Okay. And update. Alright, so now it should be, this is the product for the info for product 5. So obviously it's not going to be this is the product, the info for product 5. It'll be, you know, something else. It'll be a part number, a whole bunch of things that you can put in there that you don't want to remember. You just type in, and then this one here, let's say that this one is a similar idea, and instead of typing in A100 I would do A101, right, or some other string of characters. I hit enter, and then it'll bring me up a list of options that I can put into it. Another thing that this can be used for is if you have, let's say I want to create a file for a product or something like that, or I have some Windows form. So you know, I'll have a bunch of things in the document. It'll have like name, it'll have date, it'll have, you know, a whole bunch of these fields that you would normally go through if you paid to get specific software created for you. You would have, you know, it would say in this field put in the name, right? And then you'd have an edit box and you type in the name, and then when you're done you output a document that has all that information, right? So it just prompts you to fill in all this information. You can use this as that exact same thing without having to go out and buy the software to do it. So if you're a small business and you use these kind of forms, rather than going into the original document, rather than coming in here and actually doing the changes in here, you can just load this up, do the replacement in here, create your template of the things that you're going to be looking for within your normal document, and then do the replacements on them. So in the name field, I would just replace it with name colon, and then like I did before, the name, right? and etc., etc. Okay, so that's that. Now I'll go over a few things, another few things. So let me clear out this, because I created this copy of this just this evening, so that way I could show you how to set it up from scratch. So ignore the temp deal. That's the script I created to do that A100. But anyways, so here I've cleared out all those files, and I'll run it. And now, if I try to load this, there's nothing there because that document doesn't exist, right? Likewise with all my templates. So this part now I'm going to show you is about creating brand new templates. So if I load that, I get nothing. Okay, so let's say I just got the script, or I want to create a new template. So what I can do is I can come over to here into search and replace. If I hit update, it'll automatically create the basic jig or the basic template that I can use to actually come in and start editing. So when I first want to create a new template, I just come in here and I type in the terms that I'm going to want to use. So once again, I'll just use name : I'll come down to the next one. I'll do product ID. Right? Once I have all of this template for my search results, for my search terms, I hit update, and then if I go back over into this one here, I can see that they have been updated. In order for me to create that file to have this as a template so I can use it over and over and over again, I hit unlock, and then down here it's update template file, and you can select what file you want to create. So if you're doing, so the first time you can use it as search template 1, but the next time if you made another template, you could do search template 2, or you could create some other name. Right, I'm going to hit go, and now if I go back to that file, that folder, I now have that template there. So each time I run the program, I can use that template now. And you do the same thing with your replacement terms. So you'd go through them, you'd have your list of search terms, and then you'd create your template for your replacement terms. Hit update. So here, let's so you'd only have to do this once, or each time you want to create a new template. So demo 2. Update. Now if I come over here, I can see that it's demo and demo 2. I unlock this, go to update, I can change this path if I want. I hit go, and now over here I have that demo 1, demo 2. So that's how you create your templates, which like I said, this is the main purpose that this is built for. Like I said, you can do any kind of changes in here. So if I want, alright, I do whatever change I want to make, I hit update, and now this goes into these fields here. And it will, when I do the update, the document, right now I don't have a document, but here I'll replace 1. I'm going to replace 1 with help file. So I have my original document, it says 1, and I'm going to replace it with help file. I update, run search and replace, and if I come over here I now see help file. The way I showed before with the using a mini program or whatever to help me guide me through the different options that I can use, the way it's set up, or the way I had wrote this, I had not anticipated doing line breaks, so there is no way to do line breaks in this part here. So if I go, I don't know what I did, but if I go, let me edit that a little bit. So I'm going to edit product 1. So I'm going to put some line breaks. So it's going to do, this is the info 4, and then 3 line breaks, and then product 1. I'll save that. if I come in here now and do that, it's not actually going to put those line breaks, because if I hit update and if I go over here, it's not actually added that in, because like I said, I didn't anticipate that being a need. But if for whatever reason you want to use a similar tool like this, right, to input data into this, what you'll need to do is actually put it into this part of the screen here, which can be difficult to read through. So if that's the case, this is getting to borderline where the script is not, it's not as good as you might want it to be with those kind of things where you have multiple lines of text that you want to do the replacement with. But what you can do is I can do something like this: 11111. I hit update, and now I can easily find that to come in here and do my A100. And this will add the line breaks for you. Whereas before, if I put it in here, it wouldn't add the line breaks. If I put it into here, if I add line breaks into here, it will add them. Like I said, I didn't write this for me, I wrote it for somebody else, and I can only anticipate what they'd need out of it. I think that covers everything. I'll go over quickly the defaults. So as it's set up, it's set to grab those text documents from the directory that the script is in. You can come in here and change that if you want. So these files that it creates or saves to or runs, you can set them to be anywhere else on your computer you want. You just type in the path to that folder in here instead. Don't touch the color. You'll probably mess something up if you touch the color. You can change the defaults that it loads when it runs. So instead of it being doc123.txt, you can change it to whatever text. Right, you can go in there and change that, and then when you load it, it'll load that document. But like I said, you can also just paste it in here, or you can come in here and type the path to the text document you want to use. The same thing goes for the rest of them. This one here, like I said, you don't actually need it. I had originally created it so that way you can create a template and it would actually generate the file. So right now there's nothing in here, but if you come here and hit update, you get these right here. If you were to come up here and do new search template, it would actually create a text file that has this in it, and then you can go to that text file and change the name to whatever you want it to. But it's really not necessary, because you can just create your template here, unlock this field, go to update, and save your actual template instead of having a document that just says new search template. So it's not necessary to use that. The filler is obviously what it puts in place of actual replacement things. So here, not used. If I want it to be something else, I can do whatever I want. And it will replace it with that. You can have nothing at all if you want. Actually, I'm not sure if that's an option. It might be an option. I don't remember if I left that as an option. What did I have it just a second ago? Oh yeah, not used. I'll set it to not used so you can find it easier. Once again, for this one here, it's the delimiter. So in the actual text document, this is what separates everything. So right now it's set to be an asterisk, but you can set it to be other symbols if you want. You can have comma separated if you want, but then if you actually do a replacement with something that actually has a comma in it, your comma won't show up. It'll become a line break. Omitted characters you probably won't need to use, but you can put any omitted characters in there. And that's it for the settings. Any alterations you want to make on this, if you know how to do scripting, you're welcome to try to read through this script and make any alterations. You can add new buttons in, etc. But I didn't write this specifically for you to be able to come in and make changes to it. So if you're not well versed in doing scripting, you probably don't want to actually come into it and mess around. I think that covers everything. If you have any questions, just leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.